the first tactic you've recommended is understanding your contract. Can you give us a bit of an outline to that, please?
Of course. Yeah, there's a lot of customers that maybe make the assumption that the Oracle contract is the Oracle contract. And what we've learned, we've been in the Oracle marketplace for over 20 years. And one of the guys that I know used to handle all the contracts for Oracle. And one of the things that he told me way back when was, there are different contract clauses in different terms for different customers, and you can negotiate. So what they tend to have is they tend to have a library of different terms that can be included. So, for instance, they might not negotiate on payment terms, but they might say, well, we don't mind if this contract is governed by UK law or German law or US law. So that can be to your advantage, and you can get that priced wherever you want to. But I think the other thing within that is that you really need to understand what that contract says, because those contracts can be different. If you don't understand that, you can't negotiate. You don't know where you are. So going through those contracts, understanding your estate, understanding what you can and can't do, and also watching out for some of the kind of gotchas. There are terms in there where Oracle refer in their contracts to web pages, and they will change those web pages. And you need to be aware of that. So if you're going into a particular phase, whether it's a negotiation or whatever it may be, then dig out that contract again, go through it with a fine-tooth comb, look at all the references, make sure you understand that. Well, I think the other thing to understand in this process is that the guys fighting you on the other side of the Oracle reps who are looking at the contract, they are interpreting clauses in that contract as well. And they're not necessarily lawyers, and they're probably not lawyers, and they're not going to take you on over that contract. So it's two different points of view. So if you give your point of view and they give their point of view, then there's going to be a little bit of a gap in the middle. And it's being strong again, making sure you understand where you are, and understanding what Oracle is likely to do. They not only do they update their terms, but they do things like auto renewal. So recently they changed their auto renewal process. So it used to be that you would get an invoice and you paid it, and that would show that you were renewing, whereas now you have to opt out. So being aware of changes like that is something that you really need to do. So and finally, really on this point, get some expert advice. I mean, the guy I mentioned at the start of this point, who's got an organization that used to kind of helps customers. We're not people to help you with the expert advice around licensing, but there are experts out there that will help you understand all of the ins and outs of your contract so that you can't be bamboozled. The Oracle sales guys will come to you and say, oh, well, this is what this term means. One of the ones they used recently was matching service levels. So they would say, well, if you've got any Oracle software, you can't cancel your contract because you have the matching service level policy. What that policy actually said was, if you've got a system like an Oracle database, then any software on that system has to be at the same level of support. So it's either all in-premise support with Oracle, or it's all out of support with Oracle, or some variation thereof. What it doesn't mean is you can't throw that system away and keep another system. So it's understanding your contract and understanding where you are. So really important.
That's some great points there, Mark. I just to reiterate, the URL links. I mean, it's been a bane of Oracle customers for years. Oracle tweaking things, without making much noise about it, and suddenly you suddenly find the audit team arriving and they're saying you're out of compliance. And I saw this interesting webinar from a lawyer not so long ago, just talking about law and these hyperlinks, these URL links in contracts, and what does it really mean? And the end of it was, he said, when you sign a contract that's got URL links in, whether it's Oracle or anybody else, what you should do on the day you sign it is go to those URL links and take a physical copy of what those links say, because that's the contract you're legally signing. If they then change it subsequently, sometimes they tell you and sometimes they don't, and then the audit team rolls in and says, hey, look at the new clause and you're now out of compliance, you can say, no, our contract's this, and here's the link as it was when we signed it. And I thought that was a great tip, to take away. And the other thing you mentioned there was about auto renewals. The way they tweak these things and play with little clauses in the contract, which it's not really to a client's benefit, it's really to Oracle's benefit to do this sort of stuff. And rolling in auto renewals and extending that, sometimes it's 30 days, other contracts I see it's 90 days auto renewal. Clients get caught out with that. They think we got 90 days to the renewal date. No, let's think about this. Do we want to renew? Should we look at third-party support? Should we do something else? And suddenly they find, actually, we've auto renewed. Nothing you can do about it for another year. Anyway, learn a lesson and come back next 6 months out, not 3 months out. You know, and I think that's a vital point. And the other final point I'd just say on this, and understanding the contract, is Oracle's, what I've seen is they're very adept at taking a client who's got multiple Oracle contracts signed over many years, different end dates, start dates, and they suggest to the client, why don't you consolidate all of those into one single contract and makes it all simple for billing and administration? Yes, it does. But why are they doing that? The reason they do that is because in the contract, and Mark, you'll know this very well, Oracle contracts say you can't, if you've got one contract with loads of products in it, you can't carve out a bunch of those products and perhaps put them with third-party support, you know, to save money or to get a better level of service. It's all or nothing. You know, that's the way the contract's written. It's all or nothing. So if you've got lots of different contracts, you could carve out a few of them and keep some with Oracle and take some to third party. But if you put it all in one contract, which Oracle likes you to do, then suddenly it's all or nothing. So you might want to carve out a little bit, Hyperion or whatever it is. But now you can. And it's a little trick they played recently. So watch out for the consolidation thing. It does simplify administration and billing, but it does raise some options from what you might want to do in the future.